So, today we have another video, and this time we're looking at the Bug Guy Hatsune Miku earbuds. They do have another name, but it's a weird, long, Sony-esque name, so I just call these by the Hatsune Miku. And if you try and look for these on AliExpress, you can't search Bug Guys, even though that's the branding on these things. You have to search up, like, Sheaf. I'll put it on screen. I'll put the AliExpress listing so you can try and find it if you're interested in these buds. But finish the video first, and maybe you'll know if you're interested in them. But yep, this here is the box. Has some info on it. Nothing on the sides, and get a little round zip case. Yes, I've been in here, as Dankpods would say. Yes, I've been in here, because I've been using these actually for a few months now. I've had these for quite a while. And yeah, so let's jump into it. Ta-da! There's the buds themselves. It's a nice blue color after our girl Miku. But yeah, this is a good zip case. It's a little, like, the zipper feels cheap, but if you're just throwing these in your pocket, this will do a pretty good job of, keeping the buds from getting too tangled and keeping them from, the wear and tear of your pocket or your bag or whatever. However, I do think these would be fine just throwing in a pocket without this case. So on to the buds themselves. Very light. They're quite light. But the shells are metal. Like, if I clink them together, yeah, you can hear that they're metal. If I get a little close-up on them, maybe. They're nice shells. Feel good in their ear. They're not too heavy, not too light. Like, they have a decent little weight to them. A weight that tells me they aren't too cheap. You do got a mic on this, which I absolutely love earbuds that come with mics, because I find these so comfortable. I can throw them in. I can go about my day and just wear them for hours at a time. No comfort issues. And I can have this, to control the song, next track, back track. If someone calls me, I can answer the call if I need to pause to talk to someone for some reason, because I definitely talk to people. I can do that. On the split here, we got 01 for Hatsune Miku being the first Vocaloid. Don't quote me on that. I mean, I'll look it up during editing, but I think she was the first Vocaloid. Then over here on our plug, we got the words Bug Guys, which, even though these aren't advertised as being a Bug Guy product, it's weird. But yeah, I really like the build quality. I think it feels good. These are really comfortable to my ears. I can wear these for hours at a time. And yeah, I'm gonna compare these to two other buds, but before that, the price on these buds, these are about $15 on AliExpress, so relatively cheap in the world of earbuds. Anything under 30, that's cheap for earbuds. Anything over 30, that's when you kind of get into the mid-price range of earbuds. So yeah, I like these buds, but let's look at our other two before we jump into the comparison. So, for our next earbud, we got the nice HCK EB2S. And look at the shell there. These are another metal shelled buds. Take a listen. Yeah, these are well built. I wouldn't say they're built like a tank, but they're not far off. Yeah, I would trust these easily to sit loose in my pocket with or without the bag that they come with. I've had these for quite a long time, so I don't have the box anymore. But yeah, these came with like a little bag. They came with some foams. Shells are built really well. The cable is good, but you can kind of see it likes to hold its shape a bit. It is easily straightened out though. It's like a copperish looking cable. It's a dual cable. So it's just a double split up here, and then it goes together down here. It's a good cable. I don't hate it. And then we got our 90-degree plug, which I do like 90-degree plugs. I know some people hate these. I personally like them. And I'll jump into sound in a bit, but in general, I do actually like the build on these a bit more than the Miku. The Miku have a weird texture on their cable. It just feels weird. But yeah, these are a good bud. This vent here, by the way, if you're looking at that vent on the back, it's fake. That vent is not actually venting to the driver. It's just a hole for decoration, which, I mean, it looks cool, but it is kind of misleading. It's kind of like you're thinking you're getting a vent when all the venting is actually these vents on the side, and I believe some venting under the foam. So for our third and final earbud, we are going to be looking at the EB2S and Panda PK2. It's a mouthful, but EB2S is the brand name. There's another name that these sometimes, or that these are shown with on AliExpress. Don't remember off the top of my head. I'll show the listing on screen. But a lot of people just refer to these as the Panda PK or Panda PK2. And these use actually a shell that you might notice. The other two buds, the Miku and the EB2S, some people might call that a bell-ish shape. It's a fairly common shape, but there's so many different varieties of it. This is a well-known shell design called the PK2, popularized by the brand UN. A lot of people think that this shell is just the most comfortable in the world. Okay, maybe not in the world, but like, they just find this shell so comfortable they could wear it for hours. And I agree that this is a very small, light shell. This is definitely smaller than the other two buds, but I just don't find it as comfortable for me. It's a little bit too small, especially the right one, my right ear. It's big, it's cavernous. These will easily fall out of my right ear. So yeah, looking at the cable, it's nice. It doesn't hold its shape super much. See, I just kind of flop it down here. It doesn't hold its shape all that much. It's a good cable. Got a really nice big plug over here, gold plated if that matters to you. It's big, it's durable. There's a dual weave here, which feels good. And it leads up to our Y split. And there's a chin cinch. However, if you can see, it moves around super easily. So once it's kind of cinched up under your chin, it will fall down completely effortlessly. But like I said, I never use them, so it's not a matter to me. But if that matters to you, you should take note of it. Now we're gonna jump into the sound. And we're doing like just a full-blown sound comparison. I have 3 songs. I'm gonna talk about each song and how these buds scored with them. And then we'll come to some conclusions. Let's get into our first song. The first song, and because we're looking at the Mikus here, I kind of had to throw in a Hatsune Miku song. I threw in the intense voice of Hatsune Miku, and I found that the Panda PK, it really brings out all the high sparkly details in that song. There's like a whole lot of there's triangle, there's like higher pitched like singing and overtones throughout it, and these just brought out all those details. Now, between these two, when it comes to low notes in this song, it's like a rockish, popish song. So there's not any deep sub bass, but there are some like low drums and low guitar. And I found that these two were pretty equal with it. And the EB2S kind of fell behind. Like, I heard it, but with these, you kind of feel it a bit more. Obviously, it's not like sub level of feel, but just like the low timbre of a guitar. These two really brought it out super well. Vocals, I really wished that the Miku brought out Miku's voice a bit more, but when Miku goes really high, like she has some parts where she's singing like a really long, high, held out note, not super long, but she like hits it, sustains before coming back down. The detail on her voice was just not as good with the Miku's as it was with the Panda. The Panda really brought out that higher vocal much better. For this song, particularly intense voice of Hatsune Miku, the EB2S just kind of fell behind in every way. Didn't bring out high details as well as the didn't bring it out as well as the Miku's, and definitely not as well as the Panda. And its low notes just were not as rich, not as full, not as low as the Miku and the Panda. So I think for this song, I'm gonna have to give it to the Pandas as my favorite. The next song that I listened to was Snail's House Restart. It's a kind of J-pop-ish, really fun and exciting electronic song. And first thing I noticed was, once again, highs were so much better on the Pandas than the EB2S, and just a little bit better than the Mikus. The Mikus are not far behind. These did good. I enjoyed it, but just having the extra detail and sparkle of this was so much better. The bass extension, though, I think I liked the Mikus on this song a bit better. This has a lot more sub-bass, being an electronic song, that I just found that the the Panda could not keep up with the bass that these were doing. And once again, EB2S just kind of fell behind. It's just, it lacks the extension, it lacks the treble detail. So I feel like for this song though, I'm gonna have to give the point to the Mikus. The extra bass really helps. And even though I don't find the high end as good as the Panda, it's close enough to the point where I didn't feel like I was missing it. And the last song I listened to test out these buds was a classical piece by Jules de Merseman called Fantasy sur un thème original. I butchered the pronunciation there, but in English it's just Fantasy on an Original Theme. And the version I listened to, it was originally written for piano. I listened to a symphonic band arrangement with a saxophone soloist. I'm just going to put a screenshot of it on screen so you can find it. I can't pronounce that performer's name, sadly, but this is the one I listened to. Miku's I found were incredibly balanced, especially when it was a full ensemble. I could hear most of the instruments fairly well. I could hear the clarinets from the trumpets, from the flutes, from the low instruments, and the percussion. This was a very well balanced sound. But the PK2, I found the saxophone soloist. There's a few parts, once again, where like the performer, she goes up and she hits and sustains a note, and the resonance of the saxophone, it felt like it was kind of like pulsating against my ear. If you don't know what resonance really is, a good way to think about it is, you know, when like someone takes a wine glass and they do their finger spin around it. Yeah, that resonance, it was like that experience of hearing that right against my ear with the saxophone. I just did not enjoy it. I did not find it good, so sadly that takes away from the PK2 here. The EB2S though actually takes its first win, I think, over the Panda in terms of I did not feel any of that resonance. I could feel the echoing in the concert hall. It was a bit bigger of a sound than the Panda PK2, but at the end of the day, I think I preferred this a bit better with the live performance. But the Panda's not too far behind. If it wasn't for that resonance, I think it would be right up here with these. So, overall, what did I think? So now that we kind of listened to all of the tracks, I've listened to each of these earbuds before I recorded this video, and I think it's kind of obvious that these are not as good. The EB2S just cannot keep up with the other two buds with what they're able to do. I'm not saying that this is bad, because it isn't. It's not a bad bud. It's just so mediocre. It doesn't have anything special about it. It's just like, you want music, here's some music. So I'm kind of knocking the EB2S out, which leaves us with the Panda PK2 and the Bug Guy Hatsune Mikus. These really excel at top end, a lot of detail, a rather exciting listen, whereas these are kind of a bit more of a laid back V shape, because it's got a little bit more bass, I think, but the treble is not as detailed. And these do have a decent bass response. It's not bad. Like, for an earbud, this bass response is pretty good. So I think overall, I would probably take the Panda PK2. They do cost $30. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, The EB2S is from like $15 to $25. Do not pay $25 for it, please. These are $30. And for $30, I think it's worth it. That extra treble detail, that, decent bass response, a good comfort bud, if you find the shell comfortable. Like I said, I do not, but it's comfortable enough. So overall, I'm gonna have to give the win to the Panda PK2. And that concludes it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a bit of a longer one. I hope I did a good job of comparing these. If I didn't, let me know. If you have something else about the video that you think should be improved, let me know. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.